Hello there and welcome to the Card Grotto. Today I've got 10 of my craft favourites of 2020 to share with you. This hasn't been the best year, it's been very difficult, but there have been some really great products that I've really enjoyed using, so I wanted to share those with you. So first of all, this is the Cricut Joy Machine. Now, full disclosure, this was kindly sent to me from Cricut, but I absolutely fell in love with it. It's just so cute. As you can see, it's really tiny, but it's very mighty. You can cut a lot of different things with this. Obviously it is a smaller size, so you can't cut really large things, but for card making in particular, I think it works really well. I did create a video showing 3 different ways that you can use it that I probably would in card making, and also for a few other items as well. This is just kind of a snippet of that video. If you missed it and you would like to watch it in full, I will link to it down in the description bar on YouTube and at the end of the video as well. But it cuts a large variety of different materials, and you can use different products like the card mat that I'm showing you just now on how to use, that you can kind of cut the front of a card base, which is really great. For no means at all that I think that this will replace die cutting for me. For me, I think that they work really nicely in conjunction with each other. You can do things on the Cricut Joy that you can't do in die cutting, and vice versa. And I just think, like I said, they work really nicely together. It was nice to do something a little bit different this year. I created some labels for my craft room, which was really nice. I really love the look of those on the tubs there. And then I also created a little dustbin here as well, with the vinyl on the side of that. So it's just nice to create a few different items. Next up are the Ergonomic blender brushes from Pink and Main. Again, I do apologise that I was kindly sent these from Pink and Main. However, I was not asked to do anything in return for them sending them to me, which is really nice of them, but I really do love them. They come in 2 different sizes, the larger one, which I'm showing here, and then the mini one as well. When they sent me them, the larger one had been out for a little while, and I had seen it and I thought it looked really nice, but at the time there wasn't many options to be able to get it here in the UK. And so I didn't purchase one, and they kindly sent me some when they brought out the mini ones, and I just, like I said, I absolutely fell in love with them. I have purchased a few more out of my own money since they kindly sent them to me, and they're just really nice. I think these work in conjunction really nicely with other blending brushes and other blending tools as well. What I particularly love about them that you can see here is just you get a really kind of like pale blend, and I know that sounds really odd that you would want a pale blend, but for me personally, I make quite a lot of clean and simple cards, and I just love having that just really kind of subtle colouring in the background, and it just works really nicely, these brushes, for that purpose. So really enjoyed using them this year a lot. What I love about them in particular is that you can kind of hold them in different ways. Sometimes with the other kind of blending brushes and the tools, they kind of hurt your hand a little bit after using them for a while. These ones, I found that you can hold them, like I said, in a few different ways, so that's quite nice. The only downside to them that I found is that if you do clean them with water, like I do clean my blending brushes, they do take a long time to dry. Because the bristles are so dense, which makes them so soft and blend really nicely, it does mean that they take a long time to dry, at least here in the UK where it is a little bit colder. But what I do love is that because they come with those little handle kind of things that you kind of put them into, you can actually rest them into the holder upside down, and then none of the bristles will go into the glue or anything like that holds them all together. So it is quite a nice option to have that holder with them as well, but you don't necessarily have to clean them each time you use them. Next up are masking stencils. I actually shared these as a potential favourite in my 2019 video for my craft favourite series. and I absolutely loved them this year. I really did, and I thought I would, and I did. So these ones here are the Tailored Expressions ones. I particularly use the rectangles a lot this year, but they do come in lots of different shapes as well. The Tailored Expressions ones do have markings on them so that you can see where you want to add a panel if you're using kind of like A2 sized panels, which is really nice. The MFT ones don't have that on them, but again, I've still used them and I found them really nice to use. Because you don't have that on the MFT ones, you can just kind of eyeball it quite easily. Because they're see-through, you can see the panel behind. I had no problem lining them up, but obviously you don't have to have them in the middle of a panel or anything. You can use them on lots of different ways. And then these ones here from Clearly Besotted, they're slightly different but kind of work in the same sort of way, and I absolutely love these as well. Used them quite a bit this year. So I'm just showing you here how I like to generally use the Tailored Expressions ones, these rectangles. I tend to place my panel in the middle, and then in the set you also get the kind of positive and the negative. So this technically would be the negative, and then you also get the positive rectangle or whatever shape it is as well, and you do get those with each brand of these stencils, which is nice. But what I really love doing is just ink blending, and it kind of just makes it pop off the page. I'm not sure why using a stencil seems to work in that way other than kind of having a panel on top, but I really liked them a lot this year. This card here that I did for the MFT YouTube channel, I actually did a little bit of layering with a few of them. This one here uses that Clearly Besotted Tiled It. This one here uses the Clearly Besotted Round and Round. Like I said, absolutely loved using them. Next up is the Spellbinders Glimmer Hot Foil System. Again, I was kindly sent this from Spellbinders in return for a video that I was making on their channel. So actually I had to kind of have it for the video, if that makes sense. So I was, you know, very happy for them to send it to me. And I just fell in love with it. I have to say, I did see it before I was sent it, and I'm not always a huge fan of the look of foil. I find it really pretty, but sometimes I think it goes a little bit overboard, just for my personal preference in taste. And so I really love that you can use this in a more subtle way. The machine, I'm not going to lie, is a bit of an investment. You can purchase the foiling plates that you can use with them, but you can also use any thin metal die with this system as well. You can foil with it, and I just think that's amazing that you can use all of your different dies with this foiling system as well. So makes the dies more versatile, but also makes the machine kind of more worth its money as well. And you can foil in loads of different colours. Spellbinders in particular have loads of different colours of foil, which is really nice. And like how I'm using it here, everything was foiled on that card, but I didn't think it kind of looked over the top, if that makes sense. I think it just looked really pretty. And like I said, I just really love the look, and it was something a little bit different for me this year as well. Again, it was quite nice just to do something different other than die cutting and stamping. So I'm really grateful that Spellbinders sent this to me, and I've loved using it. Next up is Arteza Gouache, and this again was in my favourites video of last year as a potential favourite. I had planned to use it more for painting. I'll be honest with you, this year kind of got away from me a bit and I didn't get much time for painting. But what I did really love it for was splattering. Now, ordinarily, I'm not a huge splatterer, but this year I really enjoyed splattering with gouache. So what I tend to do is add a little bit onto a non-stick craft sheet, add a small amount of water to it, mix the two together with a paintbrush, and then kind of hover the paintbrush over whatever I'm splattering onto, like a card panel, and then hit the brush to splatter on some of the paint onto the card panel. I found it really helpful to use this kind of splattering technique for stars, for snow in particular. I used it a lot this Christmas for snow. I also used it quite a bit for Halloween as well, which was quite nice to do something a little bit different for Halloween cards. And I just really loved splattering with it, and so it's a little bit more affordable, like I said, to be able to splatter with. Next up are the Hero Arts Infinity dies. Now, I am on the creative team, so you could argue that I'm a little bit biased. However, I bought a lot of these before I became part of the creative team for Hero Arts, and there were a few different sets that were released this year. And I absolutely love them, to be honest with you. They're a really affordable price point. As you can see, you get tons of different sizes in a pack. The ones that aren't on the magnetic sheets are the more recent ones. I haven't managed to get a chance to put them on magnetic sheets yet. But again, I just find them really, really versatile. This is a couple of examples that I've used them on. This one here uses the circles, really great for circle cards. And then I also use the hearts here inside that ornament piece, and the hearts I absolutely adore. Next up is the Craftus Companion mini die cutting machine. So this is the Gemini Mini. I keep mine in this little pouch. You can purchase that separately. I just find it's quite nice just to hold everything together. This is a little machine that you can pop on your desk. It's got kind of like suckers on the bottom, so it sticks to whatever your surface is. And then for cutting, you have these kind of, they look like embossing folders. So you would put your cardstock and your die inside, and then you can run them through. Now, I have to be honest with you, these folders, I don't know what is the word, they really, really warp. It's the only downside for me with this machine. I absolutely love it because not only is it really handy just to have on your desk, and I found myself gravitating towards this machine much more than any of my other die cutting machines this year. Just because it's small and it kind of, like I said, you can just pick it up really easily, and it cuts beautifully. Even when the kind of, I'm going to call them plates, but they're not plates, it's a folder. Even when that is really, really warped, it does still cut really nicely, but it is a downside to the machine. So I have had to replace these a few times. You kind of just have to rotate it as much as you can when you're using it. But despite that flaw in this kind of design, I absolutely love this machine. I really do. Next up is the Studio Cartier embellishment wand. This has two sides to it. It has kind of like a metal tip end that's helpful if you want to kind of maneuver your gem or whatever you're placing into place. And then also the tip that you would kind of pick up with, which is a wax tip. The wand, when you purchase it, I believe comes with a black tip, or at least mine did, but I found that some of the black colour from the wax transferred onto my white card bases, so I did change it for the white tip. I did purchase the white tips on a pack from Amazon that were like unbranded, purely just because they were easier for me to get hold of in the UK. But I absolutely love this wand. I think it looks really pretty and it just works really nicely. As you can see here, it picks up the gemstones really nicely, and also crucially, compared to some other tools, it does let go of them really easily as well. Even without glue there, you can kind of let go of the gem or the sequin. I find that it works a little bit better for gems and rhinestones rather than sequins, but I've used it a lot this year and I have found it really, really helpful. Next up is the Altenew cutting mat. This is a large self-healing cutting mat that is about 17.5 inches by 23.5 inches, which is about the size of an English A2 size. Obviously that's very different from an American A2 card base, but here in the UK, A2 is this large. It fits really nicely on my desk. It is double-sided, so you've got a grey side on one side, which is metric, and then this black side here, which is inches. I'll be honest with you, I don't tend to use measurements on a craft mat or a cutting mat that much, so I really like this side here with the black. I think it works nicely with my white card bases and white panels and things like that. It kind of pops off of them, so it makes it easy to craft on. And I also find that it works quite nicely in videos as well, because you don't get the glare or anything like that. The lines are quite bright, but they're not kind of too in your face, if that makes sense. It's not too distracting, but I find it really helpful to be able to line things up, make sure that things are straight. And then last but not least is tags. I have always enjoyed making tags, but this year in particular I found myself making a lot more. I just really love this smaller size of them. These dies here, the reverse confetti stitched ones, I absolutely love. The grid and the dashed line. I also really used the clearly besotted tag along set a lot this year as well. And then also the Hero Arts nesting tag dies. All of these I use a lot. I've also used a lot of other tag dies as well, but these are the ones that kind of came to mind straight away. Few examples how I've used them here on screen. Like I said, I just really love making tags. I find that I can either use them as tags themselves, or I can end up putting them on a card base, and it just makes for a really nice kind of clean and simple card with the focal point just on the tag. So that was a quick look at 10 of my craft favourites of 2020. I would love to hear what your craft favourites have been this year. Links to the products that I shared will be in the description bar on YouTube and also over on my blog. Thank you so much for all your support this year. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.